Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mr.Pickles. Thank you for joining me today. Today's episode, we are playing Theme Park Tycoon 2 Episode 4. Very excited for you to be joining me today. This episode will be laggy, but not as bad. Although the beginning looks pretty bad, pretty laggy. If it is laggy in the beginning, I will leave a timestamp down below to when it gets smoother. But anyways, let's get started. We are starting off by putting these little light orbs in the Space Mountain roller coaster. These little tiny light orbs will be turned down as dark as we possibly can, and they will give off the appearance of like stars or like make it look like it's actually nighttime. It looks pretty laggy. I mean, this is basically a slideshow at this point. That's not good, of course. Of course, we still have no guests. That's because the park is completely closed. We'll open the park either when we run out of money or when the park is completely finished. As of right now, we are just adding these little lights in. And then we are clicking on and we are lowering the light level for these lights, making them as dark as possible, both on brightness and on brightness and range. That if you click on a light and you go to the second tab, you can adjust how bright it is. I pull out black granite, and I see that black granite gives off I don't really like the lights with the concrete. It doesn't look like night. So what I do is I end up painting the entire room into black granite instead of concrete, which ends up taking a little while, but I definitely think is a good choice. I think it looks much better as black granite. As you can see the little tiny lights on the screen. You can see the little orbs. That's what we're working with. We're also putting some up a little bit higher. Again, it's all just to give that starry feel. If anyone who's ridden Space Mountain, if you haven't, I would highly recommend you just go look up Magic Kingdom or Disneyland Space Mountain, and you'll see the light effect that they use to make it look like. They use, I believe, fiber optic cables, which is just a fancy way of saying little tiny lights. Now, in this shot, we are in complete brightness. I love this is just a slideshow at this point. Like we're going frame by frame. In this one, it is ridiculously bright, so that means we still have some of those orbs to turn down. Again, like I said, if it does get less laggy in this video, I will give the timestamp. Otherwise, I would honestly just go ahead and watch episode 5. Because at this point, this is just not even enjoyable to watch. I mean, unless you like slideshows, in which case, welcome to PowerPoint 3D, and that's what we're doing. We started bringing in the paint terrain and making it, as you can see, once it changes to black, I think it's called black granite. Once it's black granite, it looks significantly better. I mean, seriously better than what it did. I mean, there's a huge difference because now it actually looks, I don't know if you know this, but when you open up the tabs, terrain, props, paths, rides, I think all of those, your screen automatically gets brighter. But yeah, as soon as I click out, you can see how it gets much darker on that side of the room. And the lights tend to pop more. Like you can tell from the lights on the right side of the screen, by the list of names that like it looks significantly better, the lights over there. And it seems to fit much more too. You can see all the little floating glowy orb lights. They're pretty cool. I think I got a good amount of orb lights to where it genuinely looks like stars. Like I said in the last episode, I would imagine that these are being held up by, fake string. Or, totally super real string, super realistic. in real life, because I do want to make this park as realistic as possible. So that's the idea anyway, is that this could legitimately be a thing by just simply hooking these lights up to little string that hang from the ceiling and running electric cables to them. So it could be legit. I think this is in the game the best way I'm going to make it actually appear as a starry night. And I think the end product is crazy and it looks really good. Now we get a nice shot of these orbs that are slowly getting changed. I don't really know what the camera angle on this is. I'm not really sure what this camera angle is meant to be, but I definitely deleted the poles, so the track looks more like... It doesn't make a ton of sense how it's floating, but we're going to lose the realism because I really want the lighting effect to be as cool as possible. In real life, there would be pillars that are completely dark that you wouldn't actually be able to see, but that's not achievable in this game, so unfortunately, they're just going to float in air. Next, you can see we are on top of the building, changing the colors completely. It's actually pretty easy to paint these columns and colors, different colors. I mean, these terrain pieces, different colors, especially when they're in that, when they're stacked very high, because you just have to change the color for one block in the entire column, and it completely changes it. So that is by far the easiest. It's actually a lot easier to change the color of the walls than it is to build them. Or thank gosh you don't have to tear down the walls and build them again, because that would be a considerable amount of work. We're going ahead. You can start to see some of the other parts of the building. Down to the left-hand side, you can see the restrooms and all that stuff. You can see the ceilings. All of this will become... Oh, finally. Okay. We have left slideshow status, and we are now into an actual time lapse. You can actually see parts of the game. That is, thank gosh, because that was getting very difficult to record. I'm putting an overhang because I like the idea of, I've seen a lot in these Disney parks that they actually have an overhang in the Tomorrowland section. So I get these overhangs, and I get these pillars. We're going to see what we want to do, what kind of metal poles we want to do to hang these things up. I wasn't sure if I wanted the poles to hang over actually on the ground, or if I did not want these poles to be anywhere. So that we end up going with the poles actually inside the wall and not in the middle of the floor. The witches we're now trying to color. This is a fun task because I'm trying to... I noticed that all my buildings as of this point are gray, so we will paint them to be white. And the roofs and the ceilings, I'm going to try to get this color scheme of like blue and orange as like these new modern colors to help redo, like make everything seem fresher and more appealing. We also need lights for this area. I'm trying to find suitable lights. I like the backlit, and I don't know at this time if I realize that you can actually change the settings of the lights. So I think I add more lights than I need because I don't actually realize that I can make lights brighter. Until now. Now I realize, and I will make the room. Honestly, the difficult part about lighting these rooms in this game is that you could easily make the room way too bright, and it kind of gets rid of that feel that we're going for. Now we move on. We turn the carpet into red because why not? I think a red carpet looks good. We're not going for the Hollywood theme with like runway red carpet with all the stars, but I think the red carpet gives it a kind of like feel. It's a very gift shop feel to have the red carpet in afterwards, after you exit. We start painting the walls white because I think the white looks much more modern than everything else. There are a lot of walls that we have to paint white. I've started filling in some of these pillars with concrete, and you're probably like, well, why? Because you have walls? Well, the actual reason that we're filling them in with concrete is because, as of right now, the easiest way to do this is when your camera flips around, it can glitch through the wall unless there's a terrain block on the other side. So when possible, I try to add terrain blocks to A, block out light, and B, help you so you don't glitch through walls. I also changed these crate colors to blue because the gray ones are just not as appealing. They do not look nearly as good. We go upstairs and we start working on the upstairs section. Now, I have very big plans for the upstairs section that we will begin working on next episode. But I'm definitely looking at trying to make a people mover style attraction. They have a really great one in Magic Kingdom. Unfortunately, they closed their one at Disneyland, Tomorrowland, but Disney World has a really good people mover system. I think I'm going to take inspiration from both systems, from Magic Kingdom and Disneyland, and just kind of fuse them together and use a different ride system and really try to bring it to life. We changed the ceiling tiles to this black kind of feel. I feel like the white and the black give it a really modern feel. We add lights to try to brighten up the room. However, I will quickly realize that the brighter that this room is that everything is in, on this side, in the queue, the brighter is going to be in the actual showroom that is meant to be completely dark. So we will have to deal quite a bit with the lights and just mess around with it and try to make it fit perfectly so that it's not too bright but too dark at the same time. We also decide to take the little space we have, and I really want to get a small restaurant. And by small, I mean really small. Hopefully we'll be able to see more of that a little bit later. Right now we're working on the curbs. I don't understand how to get rid of the curbs yet. So if you are new, the only way to get rid of the curb is by actually clicking on the path itself and turning the curb off. I end up just realizing that that's a lot of work and not doing that. I might go back later and turn off all the curbs, but that would probably be in like episode 7 or 8. So that's a significant time away to go. Right now we are upstairs. We're going to try to work on the wall a little bit. I want the people mover to go on the brown awning. That's where the normal people mover is going to go for the rides. And then I also want there to be a little bit of a gap between the people mover and the actual wall itself. So we went 2 terrain blocks back, and then we built the wall. This wall is going to be about five metal walls, whatever you call them, tall. And we will also be dyeing this white. It is not tall enough to block the backdrop from the ground. I also want to figure out what railing we're going to use. I try these metal frame railings, but quickly discover that I do not like them. They are not good for something of this nature. We're back to slideshow status. To be honest, we are not moving quickly anymore. We tried the Roman walls, not a big fan. I don't know if we actually said on the wall that we'll be using this episode, but we will be using, I do know what wall we'll be using, and it actually comes out really good. Maybe you'll see it in this episode, maybe not. Yes, so this is the wall we'll be using. I didn't know if I was going to show it or not. We are going to be using the glass with the railing on top. I think it looks really good. It gives that kind of transparent look, but also keeps it really modern, which is what we're going for. We will also make a very big discovery next episode that will completely change the side of the park. Unfortunately, that is for next episode, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. Hopefully that next episode comes out soon so we can discuss what the secret is. I also push the wall back a little bit just to kind of give it more space. You can see the people mover, the monorail track. That's what we're going to be using. You can see the train track. We're dyeing more of the walls white, which is a really big task because there are a lot of walls that we have to paint white. It's actually a really big task to get done. We're coming downstairs. The bathroom color I don't like. We'll change that eventually to something else. But it looks like I'm stuck. We get out here to the train. This whole section over here is just an absolute mess. We will work on that more as time goes on. We're going to add some more go-away green plants. But then I stop and think, I think this section should be the sky. I think the idea of this the green at the bottom, the green should only be so much, and then it should be disguised as blue. If you don't know what we're doing, Disney does this a lot when they have really big buildings that just stick out and are a big eyesore. What they do is they actually paint them green and blue to make it blend in with the grass and then also with the sky. So we just work on that part of the building, and we just make it green and we make it blue. That way, so people entering the park, it just blends in a little bit more. That's the goal anyways. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this episode. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, if you could hit the like button so more people could see this, I'd appreciate it. And if you really want to, you can subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day.